Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Do you ever think about thinking? Many years ago, Bob Proctor was attending a seminar that a good friend of his, Leland Val Vanderwall, was conducting. And he said something that the entire audience roared with laughter. Vanderwall said, "If most people said what they were thinking, they would be speechless." Leland Val Vanderwall was a very wise man, and he was correct as well. Bob Proctor tells the story. He said, "I had a pleasure of sharing the platform at a convention with the late Dr. Kenneth McFarland, a great educator from Kentucky, and he said something quite similar. Dr. McFarland said, 2% of the people think, 3% think they think, and 95% would rather die than think." George Bernard Shaw said, "Most people think 2 or 3 times a year. I've gained an international reputation for myself thinking just 2 or 3 times a week." You're probably saying to yourself by now, "Come on, everyone thinks." Is that right? Well, let me suggest that you listen closely to most of the conversations going on around you over the next few hours. It will be obvious that most of those talking are not thinking, or they would never say what they are saying. Watch the behavior of some of your peers. You'll realize they're not thinking, or they would never do what they're doing. You could fall into the 3% group, which Dr. McFarland referred to as those who think they think. With a little effort, you could catapult yourself into the 2% group that actually does think. They are the achievers, the winners in life. Thinking must be learned, and it is a subject not taught in most schools. Think about it. Martin Luther King said, "Rarely do we find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking." There is an almost universal quest for easy answers and half-baked solutions. Nothing pains some people more than having to think. And George S. Patton was quoted as saying, "If everyone is thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking." A great many people think they are thinking when they are merely rearranging their prejudices. Well, I'm going to read from Bob Proctor's book, The ABCs of Success. And he talks about the preamble to everything. Your inductive reasoning factor. What a magnificent tool. This one gives you true freedom. Reason gives you the ability to choose your thoughts. Viktor Frankl, the great Viennese psychiatrist who spent years in concentration camps during the Second World War, wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, that regardless of the physical or intellectual abuse he received from his captors, they could not make him think something he did not choose to think. Thinking is the highest function you are capable of, and this mental faculty should be exercised at every possible opportunity. Thought is the preamble to everything in your life. All of the great leaders down through history have told us we become what we think about. In fact, they have been in complete and unanimous agreement on this point, while they disagree on almost every other point. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people rarely think. They simply accept what they see or hear. The next time someone gives you a suggestion, rather than simply accepting and acting on it, think. Exercise your reasoning factor. Ask yourself if the suggestion will improve the quality of your life. Here's another great exercise for your reasoning factor, one I'm in the habit of using myself, which will give you almost anything you want. Take a pad and pen. At the top of the pad, write down something you want, but have not in the past given serious thought to accomplishing it. Begin to think of how you can get what you want without violating the rights of others. Write off why you can't get what you want. As simple as this exercise sounds, very few people do it. Most people think of what they don't want. As a result, they cheat themselves out of the good that life has to offer. Think. Think deep, penetrating thoughts, and your reasoning factor will become strong. Napoleon Hill said, "More gold has been mined from the thoughts of men than has been taken from the earth." There are a thousand thoughts lying within a person that he does not know until he takes up a pen to write. Lulled in the countless chambers of the brain, our thoughts are linked by many a hidden chain. Awake but one, and lo, what myriads rise. We are gradually awaking to the fact that we live in a universe of infinite intelligence, and that responds to our every thought. But only those who delve into the study of the mind really know what a mighty energy is set in motion with each mental impulse. Thought not only molds our character, but is responsible for the changes in communities, the building of cities, the shaping of nations, and all of the great events that take place in the world. Thought is the silent switch that sets in motion mankind's destiny. Every invention and worthwhile discovery was first a mental concept. Every idea that has been backed with faith and effort has become a visible reality, and all seeming material obstructions, such as poverty or physical weaknesses, have only served to stimulate creative action by giving birth to inward resources and bringing out inherent abilities. Bob Proctor spent some time with Rick Hansen. Rick is a young man who was left paralyzed from the waist down after a car accident. He told Bob that his physical disability turned into a good thing. Because his disability was physical, he could see it and overcome it. Although he was virtually unknown and without money, he pushed himself around the world in his wheelchair, and he raised millions of dollars for spinal cord research. It was Rick Hansen's thoughts that liberated him from a dull, pitiful life. His thoughts gave him a life full of adventure. a life full of service to thousands, a life that caused millions of people to look at themselves and think of what they were doing with their lives. Thought is a tremendous power, and you can use it to improve the quality of your life and the lives of others. Life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts. The day that science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. You know, thought is being studied now. It's called metaphysical science. You're not your body. You have thought energy, and thinking is the most powerful energy. We think in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass. Whatever thoughts you're thinking that are your dominant thoughts, those end up becoming your physical reality, your life. If you look around and decide that you don't like some of the results that are yours, change your thinking. It takes a change in thinking. It takes thinking higher level thoughts in order to transmit, using your brain, transmit into the universe thoughts of what you truly desire. And the thoughts that you're thinking on the highest level that go out into the invisible universe, into the wild blue yonder, and tap into the universal mind, you start to get ideas, you start to link them together. And then when you focus on those ideas and think, how could I do that? What would that look like? What would that become? What would it feel like if that was really my physical reality, not just a fantasy? What would it mean in my life? How would that change my life? There is an unseen force. And James Allen, a wonderful Victorian author, wrote about the human will in his masterpiece, As a Man Thinketh. He said, the human will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew a new way to any goal. The walls of granite intervene. We have no idea how everything is going to come together in the universe, all the puzzle pieces, all the people, all the resources, all the circumstances, everything coming together to get what you really want. But you can see evidence all around you. When someone desires a 60-story building, an architect sees it in their mind and draws out plans, and laborers dig the hole and tie the steel beams, and decorators come in and finish it. And what was once an idea in someone's mind is now a 60-story building that people live and work in. What do you want to bring into physical reality? You have the ability to do that, but you have to spend your thoughts wisely. You have to start thinking from the end goal. What does it look like? What would it mean? James Allen was correct. Your will is the mental faculty that gives genuine power to your ideas. When you stay focused on your chosen objective, the way is shown. The most effective executives and all of the great salespeople have this outstanding ability. They're not easily distracted. Try and imagine a heart surgeon who has not developed the ability to give undivided attention to what he or she is doing. I'm certain you wouldn't want to be their patient. Here's an exercise that you can do to strengthen your will, that you can hold the goal, the idea, the target, the picture in your mind that you really want. Try this exercise every day for 30 days. If you can remember to do it after today, after tomorrow. It takes practice. It takes becoming a habit. Sit in your favorite chair and hold a candle in your hands. Light the candle and stare at the flame. If your attention begins to wander, immediately bring it back to the flame of the candle. If in the beginning you have difficulty keeping your mind focused, don't worry. Continue with this exercise 4 or 5 minutes at a time. Maybe you could try it 2 or 3 times a day. Within a month, your ability to focus will become automatic. This simple exercise can help you develop a very powerful will. Have you noticed that everything seems to be more and more instant? We want instant gratification. We turn on our computers, and if it doesn't power up in 2 seconds, we're worried that something's wrong. We turn on the TV, and if it's not an instant picture, we wonder what's wrong. We're so used to instant gratification that our brains are just zipping all over the place, and we are not focusing, we're not concentrating on what we want. Concentration, intense concentration, gives real power to your ideas. When you begin to master your ability to concentrate on one thing, then you can concentrate on virtually anything. And that is an invaluable skill to build. Concentrate all your thoughts upon what is it that you truly desire. Think about when you concentrate all your thoughts on a project that you love, on the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until they are brought to a focus. Your power to bring into reality what you really want depends on your ability to focus your attention on what you really want and on feeling what it's going to be like. And then in your feeling and thinking about your beautiful idea, inspired thoughts start to come to you. You get a hunch, you get an impulse, you get a new solution that you've never thought of before. That comes to you out of the blue, from the universal mind, from your higher self, but only when you tap into the frequency of the vibrational energy of what you'd want. What is your goal? What does it look like? What does it feel like? You know why you want it because you believe in having it. You'll feel healthier, happier, more respected, more loved. You'll find a solution for a problem, or you'll bring into reality something that you would really prefer. Thinking those thoughts, feeling how wonderful life is now that your goal has manifested into physical reality. Your physical reality is based on your dominant thoughts. That means you're going to need to practice thinking about how wonderful life is, how much better your life has become now that what you want is yours. It is already yours. It's in the spiritual realm. It's in your intellect. It's in your conscious mind. You've been thinking about it. Now write it down and get into the feeling of what that would mean to you, how that would change your world. Give thanks for it as if it's already done. It's here, it's yours, it's now. Write me a little story. You might start with, I am so happy. I am so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with heartfelt gratitude, write down what's on your mind, what you would love to bring into being. What do you want manifested into your reality? If you have a pen and paper, do that now. I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes while you think and write and feel as if your dream has already come true. Good morning again. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. It takes faith and belief in the unseen. And your goal, you want it to be bigger than what you believe, bigger than what you've ever seen before. So big that you're in love with it, but maybe it scares you a little at the same time because you have no idea how it could possibly happen. And that takes faith in yourself, faith in the unseen, faith that your thoughts are going out into the universe. And as you think from your goal, you start to find solutions, you start to get ideas, they start to come together, and then you can start to believe that it will happen. You know, when you start out with nothing and you can start over. Many times people have lost businesses or homes or gone bankrupt, and they start over. Is there evidence in your life that's holding you back from going ahead, from starting again? It would be impossible to estimate the number of people who are held back because they allow evidence, physical evidence, to overwhelm them. You could easily recount the number of people who were once faced with impossible odds and succeeded because of one single piece of evidence in their favor. They had faith. They went after their dream goal no matter how great the odds were against them. The people in that category felt it would be better to try and not succeed than to have not tried at all. This explosive power of faith in oneself has a domino effect. It knocks over any number of obstacles and it picks up momentum as it moves forward. You can prove this to yourself when you decide to move forward toward one obstacle at a time, and with a strong faith, you will increase the possibility of winning, increase the likelihood of living your purpose, fulfilling your goal, bringing into physical reality that beautiful idea that you have in your mind and in your heart. And that a person of courage is also full of faith. We can let circumstances rule us, or we can take charge and rule our lives from within. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Think about what you really want to accomplish. And I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.